Peter could have declared and shouted, "You are the Messiah," any place. It could have happened while praying in the temple. It could have happened on the mountain when he was given the Beatitudes. It could have even happened in the boat when he was out fishing. But instead, what he did today is he took his apostles on a field trip. And everybody likes field trips, especially our kids. But what a field trip he took them on. He took them to the region of Caesarea Philippi, the city, at one time called Paneas, the center of pagan, cultic, orgiastic ritual worship. Imagine what kind of a place it was. The only thing I can think of is the first time I ever went to Times Square in New York, back in the 80s. An unbelievable place. It was the place where the temple to Pan, the god of lust, was located. And it was called the Gates of Hell. A strange place for Jesus to take his disciples. Because we understand Christianity is meant to be safe and clean, smiles and good language, and of course we have our own music, our own movies, and our own books. But when Jesus took his disciples to Caesarea Philippi, I think he wanted his apostles to experience the real world. A world that was so contrary to what they had heard about as they sat with Jesus. He didn't want them to spend that day in the temple talking about the fine points of scriptures. He didn't even really want them listening to him. He wanted them to see. He wanted them to see what the gates of hell looked like. And we know that it's there, at the gates of hell, that Peter calls Jesus the Messiah. And what does Jesus say to Peter right after he says that? He said, "You are the rock upon which I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." The gates of hell, right where they were, right in the midst. And so the gates of hell for Jesus and for us become many times the life of the city. And all of a sudden our eyes are opened to the reality of this world. And when we think of gates, I always think the gates of hell. We think gates aren't offensive weapons. Rather, they are defensive. So Jesus does not envision his followers today as being defensive players, rather, or of creating some kind of a safe place or a safe haven for this world. But rather, he sees his disciples and he sees us as an offensive team, entering the world, facing the gates of hell. The darkness of the world will be counting on their gate to protect them, a defensive gate. But it is in the gates of hell, surrounded by all that was happening, that Peter is able to see Jesus for who he is. He's able to recognize Jesus as the Christ, as the Messiah, as the light in the darkness of all of this world. Much different Jesus than they experienced in the temple or the mountaintop or on the Sea of Galilee. So Jesus is able to be recognized in the harshness of the world, the decadence of the world, the corruption of the world, the self-indulgence and the self-gratification, in the immorality, in the betrayal, and the indifference that somehow seems to darken our world. It darkened the world of the apostles and Jesus. It darkens our world today. And don't we take so much of what is in our culture for granted? and we kind of just say, this is the way the world is. Yet we are the ones, as disciples of the Lord, as followers of the Lord, who are supposed to be going out into the darkness of that world and boldly, offensively bringing light, love, and care to this world. This is where Jesus will be recognized in us. Remember 2 weeks ago, St. Paul said, do you not realize that Christ is in you? And so it's when we take ourselves outside of this safe haven or this safety of these four walls that we face the gates of hell ourselves. And we are challenged each and every day to bring that light of Christ into the world. When our brothers and sisters are starving in the streets, any place in this world, even in downtown Canton, we hopefully come with food. When human trafficking touches the lives of young in Brazil during the soccer games, or in New York, we come to set them free. When machine guns and machetes are put into the hands of teenagers in Syria or in Africa, we come with peace. When AIDS comes to destroy the lives of mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters in Africa or the United States or anywhere in this world, we come with medicine and compassion. When they come with addiction and despair, we are the ones that need to bring hope and comfort. When the gates of hell seem to triumph, we are the ones that need to tear those gates down, because Jesus says they will not